Welcome back to the Infamous Project, guys, and welcome back to another exciting episode with Project FOXIDIZED sitting here behind me. So this is where I left off in the last episode. If you guys haven't checked that out, make sure that you do, because I actually drove this car all the way from the other side of my Ford Lightning over there, actually pretty much where the Lightning was parked, all the way to here under its own power. So I got it here and things started smoking pretty bad, and most likely the lower intake manifold gasket. Now, I did think of something after the fact. Don't get me wrong, the gasket most likely needs to be changed. There's no doubt about it. However, ooh, this hood's hot. Hold on, let me get the prop rod. Oh, Jesus. Texas sun, man, you don't even want to touch the hood too long. But I don't know, I think I pointed this out in the last video. See how this is melted? Well, guys, this is how our crankcase actually vents. Amazingly enough, look at this. This is melted here too. So I'm wondering, I don't know how that got that hot to want to melt, but I have a feeling I was actually pressurizing the crankcase, causing things to leak a little bit more than they should. We can see that valve cover that gasket's toast. But maybe, just maybe, that lower intake gasket's okay. And holy shit. Guys, look at this here. That's the coolant rail, like in the hose. The hose isn't cracked. The actual, like, tube, this guy, that is totally rotted right off. And here I thought I was potentially gonna try and put water in the system here today. We still can. I'll take this off and we'll stick a bolt in this guy. Because I do, like, if you look at this, I see RTV. Somebody's done the water pump in the gasket. With any luck, maybe it's okay. So I got a couple goods for the cars today that we're gonna go over. I've got a bunch of belts. So if you guys remember with the shipbox Fox, I had all these belts laying on the floor. Me and Gary found one that fit on the car at the last minute of the last hour. So I want to be able to get an accessory belt on here so we can actually turn the water pump and maybe put water on the radiator. I'm just going to put in hose water for now. It's not going to be any worse than the scenario that's already going on in this motor. Once proof of concept and everything else is done, then I will drain and I'll be part of the flushing process, and we'll put proper mix of distilled water and coolant into the motor. Now the brakes really didn't work. I don't even know if there's fluid in here. They did something to try and seal that up. There is fluid. You know, probably a seal could have been dried out or God knows what, but anyways, not too concerned there. I'll try and fix that vacuum line. So what I want to do is see, you know, will the alternator actually still charge without lighting the car on fire, and this duct tape fix. I want to see if the radiator will hold water. If not, I've got one in the back of the Lightning that came out of another project. And well, we got this flat tire situation, and I know I promised you guys a burnout, but I might save that for a little bit later. So before we get into the motor stuff, I've got to do this mod right now, and I got to do it so I can motivate myself to work on the shitty stuff like that cooling system and everything else. And here it is, a set of ROH ZR6s, just two, so I can get the look on one side, guys. I'm going to bolt these on the passenger side. I want to see how the wheels and tires are going to make a difference. We're not getting into the stance yet. I promise you the stance is coming soon. The front bumper cover, maybe we'll get into that too. Maybe I'll reward myself with putting or getting to that stalker front bumper cover if everything else goes as planned. So let's bolt the wheels on. Let's see how they look. We'll cap off that line off the water pump. We'll put water in the cooling system. We'll try and find a belt that fits on the pulleys, bypassing the smog pump. Try and start the car up again. And in fact, we should probably change the oil. Maybe when I have the front of the car jacked up to change the front wheels, the front wheel, we'll drain the oil, we'll change the oil while we're under the car. So that is the plan of attack for today. Stick around, we'll hit the intro. We'll be right back on, getting right into Project FOXIDIZED or Rust Baby or Vanilla Rust or Toxicity. Maybe it'll just be that car that just keeps changing its name. At least it's not changing its Stick around. Alright guys, I just got everything out that I need. In fact, I placed it out so I could take the thumbnail picture for the video and figured, why not? It's all out there. Could do a better job with my thumbnails. So not going to waste any time. Time lapse. Let's get those wheels changed. GoPro's hating its life a little bit in the hot sun. Give you guys a peek of the front end suspension here. Got Florida sand, some sort right there. Look at the pads, like gone. So that could probably explain a little bit of the brake situation. And other than that though guys, like even the oil pan, now the oil's coming out. There were some globs coming. It's draining though. Oil pan, actually, look at how clean it is. It's not too bad. The underside of this car really isn't too bad. Oh, foxbody John is here. He wants to try and charge up his AC. He can't take the Texas heat driving his car around. So I'm gonna pour a little bit of ATF down the oil fill hole there and just try and like flush a little bit of the oil out. And while that's doing its thing, I'm gonna help John out, and from there we can get that other wheel on, but we got one on. Guys, so John's on his way. His pressure switch was bad on his AC on the accumulator, so got that swapped over. Topped it off with a little bit of gas because it could have used a little bit more. He's blowing ice cold, everything is good. And trying to flush a little bit of gunk out of the oil. So what I did, I wish I got it on camera, took some compressed air and put the nozzle in there with this rag around there and blew out the sludge, because there definitely seemed like there was something blocking the flow to come out of there. And as soon as I blew some air down there, everything started draining. So probably some buildup over the years, condensation, who knows if they ever changed the oil, so on and so forth. And oh, look at that, we got a nice little mud dauber nest right there, little memory of Florida. But again, super clean under here. So I'm gonna go ahead and blow a little bit more air through. Maybe we'll see, maybe there'll be a little bit more excitement, maybe not. Oh yeah, we're getting more. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pour some oil down in there, like additional oil, and we're just gonna keep letting it drain. So once that one's done, I'm gonna put the drain plug in there, and then we'll try and get something out of the front. In fact, you know what, I'm just gonna put the front one in. That way we can just focus the air where we want it at the moment, which is in the back, and then we'll do the opposite. See if I can get, I'm going to put this rag here to call it like a just to keep from stuff blowing all over the place. All right, guys, look at the stuff that came out of the pan. Just nasty, nasty sludge, but it's okay. Blown most of it through, flushed it out with some transmission fluid. Everything should be okay. New filter. We'll go ahead, top it off. 5 quarts of Castrol GTX, and we should be good from oil change perspective. All right, little vacuum cap. Get that on there. No more vacuum leaks, hopefully. And I want to see about getting this good battery tray on if we can. So let's see here. Let's see if this will actually come out. Oh my god. That's what I mean, guys. If this car was like rotted to the point of no return, and anybody who's dealt with rust is going to know exactly what I mean right now. Like, these 2 bolts would not come out with this much ease if this car was completely rotted. And changed my mind. We got to see underneath the front end side of the car, changing the oil, and I'm confident, I really am, that this car, as long as this motor is good, because I really don't want to get into swapping a motor, so as long as the motor is good, I don't mind putting in a little bit of time. Like, we all have to do it. Oh, look at that. You can see, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's perfect. Yeah, there's a little bit of rot right there because of the leaves and everything else sitting in there. In fact, we have a blower, so we can actually clean stuff up here. All right, so again, some people cut this stuff right off of their race cars, so I'm not concerned about this. If the car was really bad, we'd have holes underneath that proportioning valve and everything else. So for me, this is okay. Here we go. So now let's see if we can bypass or block off this coolant tube so that we don't waste any coolant. So all I'm going to do is I'm literally going to cut this big bolt. There we go. And tighten the clamp up. All right, guys, I got the bolt in. It's actually one that holds your strut to your spindle. So that should do its job there. Now, I'm going to try a couple belts, see if I can find one that fits with bypassing the pollution pump. And then we'll fill up our radiator with some water, see if we see any obvious water leaks. And, oh shit, I need a vacuum cap for there. So I need to get one of those, but let's try with the belt first here. Over. I can already tell this one too long. There's only one belt that almost fit, and it required the tensioner to be able to go up more. So I shaved off the pin, because why? It's Project FOXIDIZED and we don't care. And that's the only belt that was close enough to being able to fit and work the way that I want. So I'm going to go ahead, bolt this guy on, get the belt on, and hopefully that will be the end. right, look at that, 4x4 mode. But I think it already looks sweet. Now you guys know why I say I go 4 inches lower over stock, because based on the wheel and tire profiles you run, like look at that. Like a can of Miller Lite right there. But anyways, that's all gonna get fixed. Let's try and put some water in the radiator and let's see if there's any coolant leaks. And I gotta get a vacuum cap for there. And then we can start this thing up again and see what happens. In case you're wondering, because I'm actually wondering, because it's that time of day where it's really hot. Like later in the afternoon is when Texas is at it. And of course the camera dies right as I'm about to say the temperature. So it is 106 degrees outside right now. And I'm working right in the direct sun, working on the ship box. Oh, we're overflowing. Let's see here. I don't know how many different places the motors may be leaking from. I can hear water going into places. All right, belt is on. Can't see the alternator's charging, but car is moved under its own power again a little bit. We've got some smoke. I know that valve cover on this side is leaking really bad, and I did spill a little bit of oil down on the header too when we were doing our oil change and everything else. So I think transmission flush is definitely going to be in order here shortly, that's for sure. Yeah, the smoke isn't near as bad as yesterday. Now with that said, there is a little bit of water in there too, and you know, we're a little bit better off. So car fires up, it runs, it seems to have decent throttle response. We haven't done the plugs yet. Haven't really gone over much except for some of the basics. At least we got fresh oil in it now, and we know that the basics are working. The brakes and everything are going to be addressed when we do the stamps. And I've got a plan, guys. I promise you I have a plan, so don't worry about that. Question is now, do I want to mess and maybe try and get that stalker bumper cover on there? What do you guys think? I think I might have a little bit of time. 6 o'clock. I got about 30 minutes left of my Saturday. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to back it up in front of the yellow car and get into the shade a little bit more, because the sun is starting to kick my ass a little bit, and maybe we'll see what we can do with that stalker bumper. So at one point it caught reverse and it was moving pretty good. That's why I sort of went away from the yellow car, because this car doesn't have brakes. So I don't hear it. I don't think we have the same situation as yesterday, where it's literally pouring out on the ground here. Let me grab the bumper, see what we can do. mock up there because, well, I got to go to dinner. The sun's going down. Fitment is not very good, but it's going to sit in the sun, and I've got things sort of held around where they need to be. So I'm hoping that with some heat in the sun, and there we go, a little bit of persuasion, we can get this thing fitting a little bit better, mostly just in this corner over here. And I think I can make it happen. I've just run out of time to mess with it today. I've always hated this gap right here. Even the OG Stalker bumpers, they have that gap there, which is a little annoying, but whatever, it is what it is. We'll get that straightened out, hopefully lined up, and give you a little side profile. Project FOXIDIZED. I don't know if I'm going to be ending this episode here or if it'll be carrying on, but either way, thanks for watching up until this point. Stick around because there's going to be plenty more of Project FOXIDIZED.